Opus 4.7 is out and is a massive, massive disappointment. Let me explain. So Anthropic did it again. Okay, it's still doing, after months now, taking action to give less to us as a user and give more reason to capture those investors. Okay, they give more reason for the investor to invest in them, which I understand from the business point of view, that that you need money. At the same time, you're delivering less, and you're doing it in a way that is not nice to the community. So from removing the ability of using Cloud Max subscription for Open Claude and other kind of platform, that is already a nice move. To say that now we have these methods, okay, this it's extremely intelligent AI, but I'm not gonna give it to you. It's too dangerous. You can't have it. It's that would be not good. It's too dangerous for the people to have it. Okay, so there's gonna be an elite of people that can have it, and that is the that is the philosophy behind. Okay, there's gonna be Class A citizen and Class B citizens. Okay, and they find a really good reason. It's too dangerous. This can hack, can break things. So we can't give it to people because who knows what people will do. So we need to give it to corporations that they have the money to pay for it, and they are so scared now because this, if we release this, you're not ready company, it's the end. Okay. So investors now see this thing, okay, now these corporations have this massive, super powerful AI that we can touch, we can see it, we can test it, but they have it, they say they have it. Okay, we need to trust them. They have this super powerful AI. Good, amazing, this is the AI that we need. And but what we get is this lower, little bit improved. On benchmark, we see 2 to 10% maximum improvement compared to the other frontier models. So 2 to 10% is something that we as a human, we can't measure and we can't feel it. There's nothing like this. Like, think about you get your coffee and you add 2%, 5% more sugar. I mean, you don't realize, you can't feel it. We don't have the ability to feel that kind of exchange. 10% maybe, in some scenario you feel it, but most scenario, you can't feel any changes. So it's something on paper, we see this on paper. Okay, paper says it's 10%. Yeah, I must use it. I mean, it's gonna change my business now with 10% more. Could you imagine? I can become billionaire. I can be, finally, that's 10%. It's gonna change everything. Okay, that is the psychological pressure that they put on us. So you as a company say, should I pay 2, 3 times, 4 times the price that I pay for other to that 10%, which is in the most best scenario is 10%. Understand this thing, because it's between, I mean, only on one benchmark is 10%. On the other is below. Okay, it's 2, 5, 3, that kind of percentage. So you're paying 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount that you pay with the other corporation. Now, there is also another element, okay? Because it couldn't finish there. No, that would be, okay, I pay more, whatever. I mean, you can say that it's money, doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter because it's for my business, for my life, I need to, this is the most important thing, that 2, 3, 5% I'm willing to pay this. But it's not there, because now they added this tokenizer. What it means is like in practice, okay? What it means now you pay between 0 to 35% more for processing those data. Okay, so there is an increase of cost that kind of 35% is something that you will feel it. Okay, and again, it's from 0 to 35. It depends on what you do. So it's not something that is clear 35 and then you really feel it. But again, there is the gap is not between 0 and 10%, but it's between 0 and 35%. Something that we start feeling it. But like it was not enough, okay, now it's more expensive just for getting a little bit more. Now we have this another psychological element. Now they gave us an even higher thinking level. So higher thinking level means that you spend more token to achieve to follow the prompt. Okay, so you spend even more token for the output, and we know it's been tested that this thinking process increase the quality of the output. So now probably this 10% increase is connected to this higher level of thinking, and therefore this 35% more token cost. So of course, you increase the token cost of 35%, you increase the quality of the output, but we also notice, and corporation notice, that there is a level of diminishing return. So I make it think more, and then I don't get, I spend 35% more token, I get 35% more intelligence. No. Okay, I get 35% more token, I spend more 35% more token, and I get a maximum of 10% increase. So now again, you are in that scenario where you're thinking, yeah, but this is it's my project, it's the most important business of my life, it needs to work, it needs, if I arrive first, I'm gonna, win, and so on. So now you start say, okay, I need to use the most higher thinking, the most powerful thing ever. In reality, let's understand this, okay? In reality, those 10% don't make a huge difference, if any difference. What instead makes difference is your architecture. So if you improve your architecture, your plan, your business plan, the way you use AI, if you improve, to simplify, just the prompt or the system prompt or the architecture of your software, that level of impact is much, much higher and costs zero. Okay, in token, I mean, it costs zero to be a better prompt engineer, better context engineer, or improve the architecture of your software, improve your business plan, improve your marketing plan, improve, the vision of not the short term but the long term. Okay, if you work on that, you can do a massive improvement, and don't waste time for a 10% improvement. It's not even time, it's money. And why I'm saying this thing? Because there is alternatives, okay? There are alternatives to this scenario. And we need to start to say, okay, Anthropic, this is enough, okay? We don't like this direction. This is not a direction for us. This is direction for you and your friends. So enough. So we should start saying, okay, I'm going to look into the alternatives. Now, if you go on Reddit, you see that there are people running their own benchmarks. They talking about their own experience using this model. And what they see is actually that is not true. Those benchmarks, these 10% that they're talking about, it doesn't reflect reality. And we see this bigger problem that we have with AI is that AI doesn't follow instruction. Okay, AI think that is better than us and is gonna do what AI think is being trained by. Okay, so that is one of the biggest problems. And Opus 4.7 is much better in theory, on paper, to follow instruction of the Opus 4.6. And then they say, okay, this is the best model to follow instruction. Then people try, and again, a 2% more, it doesn't change the fact that basically doesn't follow instruction. Okay, 2%, 5% doesn't change anything. It just doesn't follow instruction. That is the problem. The problem is still there. And we have models like ChatGPT, what's the name, 5.4, which actually follow the instruction better than Opus. Now, I'm not saying that we need to use ChatGPT. Okay, I'm not sponsoring any model. You need to do your thinking. Actually, I'm going to say something in a second about how we should do this thinking. But already we have a model that on that specific task is better than Opus. A specific task that is really important for us, okay? Because we create our architecture, we create our protocols, and we want AI to follow them, and then AI doesn't follow them. Big problem. So the ChatGPT is already better. But what is crazy, okay, that it's still not like it's better, but it's not like it follows instruction. None of those AI don't follow instruction. They don't want to. Okay, that is the thing. That is the problem with the intelligence. Okay, they think always that they're better than you. So now, if you see the OpenAI gives you for cheaper subscription more token. Okay, so you pay less, half, and you get, more tokens. That is already something to consider. But now I want to share you how we should look at this problem. Because we, as a citizen of this planet, as a citizen that use AI, we can actually, with our money, help the direction of how AI get developed. And now we look at this company. Let's look at the top three. Okay, Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google with the Gemini AI. So Anthropic is doing basically zero for us. It's not giving anything back to us in the sense of open source, for example. The only thing that we managed to get is their access because they are incapable of protecting their own software. They leak by mistake the code of Claude code. Okay, so now we can see what is inside, and so we learned something from them because we see the architecture that they're using, the logic, how things move around, and so on. So that was a lot of learning out of a leak that they didn't want to share. They shared by mistake. Okay, a mistake probably done by AI. They pushed that was a junior developer that had a chance to do such a massive problem. In reality, I'm pretty sure personally that this was AI that ignored the protocol and did whatever he wanted. Anyway, so we learn in that way only because they make a mistake. OpenAI, I think 7 months ago, something like this, they released their open source version of GPT. I think it's called GPT OSS, 20 billion parameter and 120 billion parameter. When it came out, it was the best open source model we had available. Probably they did it because they supposed to be an open source company, so they should support, they should give something back to the community. So they were maybe forced legally to do it, but nevertheless they did something. Okay, they gave something to us, to use as an open source, manipulate and build and so on. Then we have Gemini, okay, Google, with OpenAI and sorry, not OpenAI, with I wanted to say the company behind this, which is the DeepMind. That's the name. So the DeepMind, that is the research lab that they have, they keep developing and they keep delivering us really powerful open source model. Now there's just I think a week or 2 weeks ago they released Gemma 4. Amazing, incredible, open source, totally open source, that we can use, modify, and do whatever we want with that model, which are models that are extremely powerful, but they can run on your mobile phone, on your little computer, on a bigger computer, and it's incredible. Okay, open source, free for us. So now the thinking goes, if you really need to use a frontier model, why don't use one company that gives you at least something back? They give something back to the community. And this is open source Gemma 4 is not the first thing that they do. They keep delivering on paper research, they keep sharing knowledge. The old ChatGPT came from Google DeepMind research paper. Okay, so the whole movement of AI that we have is a lot come from the effort of DeepMind, that is this company within Google. So there is a lot of coming from that company. Now, I'm not saying that the Google are the good guys, okay? I'm far from that position. But we need to be honest about there is the level of contribution that those corporations are doing. And Google has this. OpenAI, it's probably only pushed by legal because we saw the people behind. Okay, Anthropic, that was supposed to be the good guys and to do the best thing, they are just doing the opposite. Okay, now we see them who they are. Okay, we see this idea of there is the elite that have access to some products, and then there is the rest of us. It's too dangerous for us. We can have it. No, so that is the two-class citizen that they're building. Now we have the money to say, okay, I'm gonna give the money to this company because I support not just the product that they gave me, but also the philosophy behind. And now it's up to us to decide where to put those money. And we are the, how do you call it, maybe the gauge that this company can use to understand where to go. At the moment, Anthropic is going to the wrong direction. Okay, so I'm not paying Anthropic anymore. I stopped. I used to use it, now I stopped. Okay, if I want to test something, I use the API. I open maybe an account for a month, the small one. I test it. I learn from it. And that's it. Okay, but I can't support this. Gemini, it's if I need to use a big frontier model, I would prefer to use those kind of scenario. So now, what is the? For transparency, I'm telling you what I use because it's. I want to be honest. Like I said, I used to use Opus until Anthropic started to just create a lot of friction against those open source solution like Claude and so on. So they made it basically illegal to use their product through their subscription for those models, and they create another way that is much more expensive, basically is unusable. Then I had that one, but I also had, and I still have it, OpenAI. I use the 5.4 for coding. So the 5.4 is the one that is actually followed by the instruction of Opus, and I use it for coding because, first of all, with the $20 a month subscription that they have, I can have a lot of tokens. So if I use just for coding, in my scenario, it's really, really rare that I finish those tokens. They have like a daily and weekly amount. Okay, so it's really rare that I finish the weekly quota for the token available. But they also have the $100 and the $250. Now you have a lot of options that are much cheaper than what happened with OpenClaw. You get more token, and basically you get exactly the same power. Then another one that I have is Gemini. So Gemini is the Google one. Why do I have so many? I go actually even more, but why I have so many? Because this is what I do. Okay, I research, I test, I try things, I learn from those platforms. So I try to at least have access to all of them, so I can test those latest model and so on. So I also have a Gemini. Gemini I had it for a long time because it was for my use case scenario was the best model. So I still have it because I still have also a lot of projects that run on them, but also I use some of the Google products, so they all come as a package, and therefore for me it's convenient. And it's I can't remember, something like $20 a month. They're all more or less the same. So for what I get from Google, it's a lot compared to the others. So that is what I'm saying. So what it gives me the least out of my money is actually Anthropic. It's try to really use this psychological element to capture you. Okay, I'll give you the most powerful AI. It's a little bit more powerful, but on paper it's the most powerful. But I make you pay the premium. So now you feel like, okay, I'm paying for something important. Okay, I'm not paying the $20. I pay $200. Must be amazing. Okay, they tell you this is a PhD level intelligence and so on. A professional using it. Okay, the industry moving in that direction. This is all human insecurity, okay? That is all psychology. They're really good at this, okay? They're really good in pushing you to leverage on your insecurity, to tell you bullshit, basically. This is PhD level intelligence. And then you go into this trap. You think, okay, this is for my business, this is really important, I'm gonna do it. In reality, 10% better. Actually, 10% only on one benchmark. Okay, so it's just a little bit better, but you pay 2, 3, 5 times the price. Not worth it. And again, they're not giving anything to the community, to helping the AI to be developed. Okay, so going back to the transparency, I also use Minimax 2.5, 2.7 through the cloud. So I have an account. I have the, what's the name? I paid a yearly account. Okay, I was excited about this product, and I needed an AI that would do just some specific work on the background. So I didn't need a super powerful frontier model. So to save token on Opus, I would say, okay, Opus I use it for my maximum level of thinking, but for a lot of task, I just use a smaller model. So I save on a token by delegating to this smaller model a lot of work, which I have to say, this Minimax is pretty amazing. Okay, remember this has been basically a distillation of Anthropic models. So it's pretty good and it's cheap. So I got the yearly account. Okay, I was so excited about the yearly account. Now I have these, which you pay once, then you have, and you can make it work. And the amount of token you have with that price is just incredible. Then I have a local model. Okay, I'm using this Gemma 4 and Quen 3.5. Okay, they run on my machine, and it's beautiful. The feeling of having your machine that run everything local, that is capable of doing something by itself, just locally. So what I have running locally is, for example, with this, it's Hermes. Okay, Hermes is, if you don't know, is this little version, let's say, of OpenClaw. So it's this local AI, which is one single agent, which can operate in your computer, do a lot of work for you, can be basically your personal assistant that run locally. You can add whatever model inside, whatever cloud AI inside, but I run it with my Gemma 4 26 billion, and I also sometimes run it with Minimax. So the beauty of that system is everything is open source. Okay, everything that runs in that thing is open source, and most of the time it runs 100% locally. So when I want to do software and so on, when I want to do something that is much more advanced, or even in Reason and so on, I try to use a bigger model. But then I have OpenClaw, where I have running, all those other models inside. So that is how I work. I'm sharing this as for transparency, so I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just telling you the truth. Talking about sponsored by anybody, in reality, I have this because I'm a subscriber of Minimax. I can give to people the 10% discount. So if you're interested in Minimax, there is the link in the description where you can get the 10% discount. Again, it's an affiliate link, so I'm gonna make, I don't know what I'm gonna make. Maybe they give me 3 months. But anyway, I'm again, this is transparency. I'm not pushing you to just use whatever you think is good. Actually, there's a lot of people using this GML, I think it's called. It's a Chinese model that apparently is really good, and in some scenario better than Opus 4.7 according to human tests, not benchmarks. So there are alternatives. That's what I want to say. There are alternatives. Don't get captured by a company that uses psychology basically to trap you. And at the moment, they're using that psychology to give you less to you, but you feel still happy because that's the most powerful AI, and actually capturing those investors. So, I mean, I understand that the job of the success of those companies is they must find more investment, otherwise they will die. So I totally understand this thing. But that doesn't justify how they behave. And so we, users, with our money, we can tell, I'm not happy about this. Okay, we can say the truth. We can vote, basically, behavior by putting the money where we think they should go, for our benefit. At the end, a company that is creating an elite AI and one for the others that is less powerful. We're talking about a lot less powerful. Again, for paper, okay, the thing of these methods, maybe it's just advertisement to get the investment. They're going to the IPO, meaning they're going to be open for investors to invest on the market. So they need a lot of money. And And therefore they have this amazing thing that nobody can see, but they have it. They have it. So give us money. Anyway, I share enough. Like and subscribe. There's gonna be an article connected to this blog post. So if you're interested, the link in the description. You can go there, read, get links, get the what's the name? This 10% discount and so on. Thanks for staying to the end, and watch the next video. Ciao ciao.